Hello again, everyone. This is Randy, your sewing machine man. We're looking at a new home from the good old days, an oldie but goodie. This is the new home 552, and believe me when I tell you, I had a new home dealership back in the 70s, and this was one of the machines I sold. And they were a chore because they are complicated times 10. Great little machines, but I want to show you what it's like to make stitches on this thing. You can see that I've made all the stitches it's supposed to make, and it makes a real nice batch of decorative stitches and stretch stitches and overlocks. So you got your upper and lower, automatic, super automatic, and of course back here in the back is a lever that shifts you from automatic to super automatic. If we get closer so you can see that back there. Automatic, super automatic. And that's a little shift so you can go from top to bottom. Now that sounds simple enough, but that's just the start of it. So what you have to do the top row, you got BH, which stands for buttonhole, which is also zigzag. And you just got to know that because that's confusing. Buttonhole and zigzag. So it's on one, and that will be a real nice, and it's got a left homing needle, so it's a side load to the left, and just about every single one, unless they have an adjustable needle position, they're almost always going to be a left side load. See, it's a left side load, which means your needle's going to sit on the left. It makes it good and heavy duty to get that 15 class bobbin in there. It's got the adjustable pressure on top, and it's got the drop feed over here. I'll get to that in a minute. But top layer is automatic, but to turn this dial to select them, you have to go from auto to off. So you go to off, and then you bring this over here to wherever you want it to be to get the scallop or get this or get that, all the ones that I did. And if you have it on top, then it's going to be back here on auto. Auto, auto, auto on the top. Now, if you want to go to the bottom stitches and get like the stretch stitch, you have to switch this to off to change the dial, of course, to go back and forth. So you settle on this one right here. So you can be doing on the bottom. So instead of having a short stitch like you have on top for the decorative, you have to go to the long stitch. You come back here to super auto, and you take this to auto. Have I lost you yet? Have your eyes completely rolled into the back of your head yet? Because when I would sell these, people come in and go, why does that button jump in and out like that? Is that what it's supposed to do? And I go, yeah. Remember when I was demonstrating? And but when I'm demonstrating to these people, they're like, oh my God, so much. It's like a blur. You get the book and you got to figure it out. Nowadays you have YouTube. It'll help you a little bit. Top row automatic on the right-hand side. Bottom row super automatic. Shift this to the left-hand side. All your top stitches, you can have a variable stitch length. All the bottom ones, they have to be on its longest setting. On the top one, to get any kind of a definition, like the real nice scallop, the real heavy dark ones, you put this on auto, and then this has to go all the way down to the buttonhole zone. All right? Where it's when the stitches are close together and heavy and dark, that's a short stitch. You come all the way down here. The long stitches over here, all the stretch stitches have to do that, so that thing can cycle in and out. Okay, if that's not complicated enough, buttonhole over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a real nice 4-step buttonhole. It has a guide that comes with it. But we put it back on auto, and we put this on off to unlock our dial. Bring it over here to 1. Put it back on auto, and we put between 2 and 3, and that's going to be about 10 stitches per inch. That's going to be your regular straight stitch where you do most of your sewing. A real smooth, awesome little machine. I'm not sure it's made in Japan or Taiwan, but it's a real good machine. Now, the only downfall, the only drawback, I should say, is that up in the top it has a zigzag gear. Like most side loads have a zigzag gear in the center. It has a non-metal zigzag gear. It's not going to be an issue, but it could. Just so you know, it's not brass. A lot of the cheaper ones have brass ones. This is the top of the line at the time, and it has a plastic or nylon zigzag gear. They might break, they might not. Of course, you take these in and whatever's going to... You set this on the counter in any of these places nowadays. I go, oh no, we don't work on those. You can't get parts for them. Well, why would you say that? Because you don't even know if it needs a part. And it probably doesn't. But these folks that you go to now, I call them the kids. Their grandpa would never say that. Their grandpa would check it in, fix it, and be ready the next day. But see, these kids now, they leave at 5 minutes to 5 because they want to beat the traffic. They don't even stay till closing time. They're gone. So it's, what is it here in Texas right now? 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock? I don't know. I've lost track of time. But I'm fixing these machines. They'll be done tomorrow, making some videos for you folks. But they're off having fun, and I'm having fun making videos. Now for this customer, you know, these machines sit for a while, so they get them out, and they're not really accustomed to threading it up and winding the bobbin. So let me do that real quick before we sign off here. It takes a standard 15 class bobbin. You know, I'm a big fan of the 15 class bobbin, whether it's a side load or whether it's a front load. Front load's a little easier to deal with for most folks. The side load is a little bit more robust, but a little bit more cantankerous. There's your 15 class setup. The bobbin loads, of course, turning clockwise. Let's get real close so we can see this. Clockwise. Well, that's counterclockwise. I'm glad I noticed that because that would be exactly backwards. Clockwise, and you see the little slot right there. That slot, the thread goes in the slot. I put my thumb on it so it doesn't turn, and I pull it so it comes up and out the top. Right there, comes out between there, and that's how you load the bobbin. You hold the latch, and as long as you have a hold of the latch, it won't fall out. It's got a little lever that holds onto it there. And you tilt the machine up. I always like to tilt the machine up, and then you put it in the side. Turn it a little bit so you can see it here. And the side, it snaps right in, and you've got the bobbin loaded. Now, as far as winding the bobbin, it's going to come out here on the top side. Let's swing back a little bit so we can see that happening. Over here's your bobbin winder. It's got the standard clutch release on the side. Hold the outside ring with your left hand, the inside knob with your right hand. Let's see what we got here. Inside. Sorry it's taking so long, but this customer hasn't had it in a while. They want to know how to use it. Hold this with your left hand, this with your right. Away from you locks it, towards you releases it. So when you step on the gas, it'll spin your bobbin winder. So what you do is you take your 15 class bobbin, get a good one. You put it on here like so. And I'm going to get the thread source from my thread stand over here. If you're using a spool, it would be back on one of these spool pens in the back. But let's pretend like it is, and we take it over to the side. There's a little hole right there. I have this piece of tape on here because the customer put their information on there, and I didn't want to show it to the world. Compromise their security. So it goes from through the hole, around the back, all the way around the guide, and you bring it over to the bobbin itself. And what I always like to do, and I recommend that you do it as well, is put the thread up through any of the holes. Get over so I can see what I'm doing, like so. And then when you put it through the top, you hold on to it, like so. You engage it. And then when you hold that, what it'll do is it will wind the thread, and then you'll cut that thread so you don't have any thread sticking out on the top or bottom of the bobbin. You'll cut it flush. And you can wind it full, you can wind it half full. You have a stop over here that's adjustable for winding your bobbins full or half full. If you go all the way full, it'll shut off. Take my word for it. I'm going to shut this off and do it this way. Now we're going to thread the machine. All right? Then we'll take this bobbin that I have wound, and we will use it as our thread. Put it back here on the spool pin in the back. There's a spool pin back here. And we'll go over to this guide that we used earlier to wind the bobbin. On the back edge, we'll put it through that hole. And we'll bring it up front to the leading edge guide. You're always going to have a guide at the leading edge. Then we go down to the tension, and always raise the presser foot when you're threading the tension. Always raise it up. It opens and closes. When you raise it, it opens. When you lower it, it closes. Clamps down on the thread. So we raise it up, hold our thread, and we're bringing it from the right-hand side, between the disc. Hear the click? Click. When you hear the click, you know you got it right. Then you lower the foot and pull here, and you'll feel resistance like someone has a hold of it and refuses to let go. That's when you know you have it threaded right. If you don't feel that, the thread didn't get through the thread properly, or you don't have your tension on 4, which is what it's always going to be. 3 to 5 is the range, but it's almost always on 4, about 99 out of 99 times. Now, go right to left through the take-up lever. Got a thread guide here, thread guide here, thread guide back here in the back of the needle. There. Let me put that down. It's up too high. And then we'll thread the needle left to right. And this is the part where you get to watch me thread the needle. And this is always so fun for me and so humorous for you, because you get to see that not only do you have trouble with it, so do I. But I'm going to cheat. I'm going to take the needle up, snip the end with a nice clean cut on a pair of scissors. Then I'll bring my flashlight over here and start stabbing away at it. Ooh, get out of here. Second attempt. Well, that may be a indoor world's record. Yeah, don't pull it back through. All right, got it. And then, of course, you raise your presser foot up. That releases the thread. Turn your hand wheel towards you. That picks up the bottom. And with both threads under the foot to the rear, you lower the foot, presser foot on the fabric. I'm going to flip this over so it's a little bit easier to see. And you hold both threads to the rear. Don't let them suck down in. Hold them. It'll demand from the top. And then away you go. And you'll be sewing. Adjust your stitch as long as you want, short as you want. Let me tighten my clutch back down so it won't make that sound. And that is how you thread it. Wind the bobbin, do the patterns, and make your head explode trying to figure out all the cool stuff that it does. It does the cool stuff. If you got the book, or you can get one, that's good. But if you can find one of these at a estate sale, garage sale, pawn shop, whatever, they're out there. They made millions of them. And grab one of these. They're good, strong machines. And if you just want to do a straight stitch forward and back, fine. You don't have to fold with all this stuff up here. It has a nice buttonhole built in. It has a drop feed. I was going to show you that. This comes around. It engages the bottom feeder strap. Up here on top, you got the pressure on top. So it's got all the stuff you need, all the features. So it's a good little machine. If you get a chance to get one, a couple $100, grab it. Nice little new home, 552.